Welcome to episode 46 of The Leap Home, Piano Man.
In this week's episode, Sam has to save himself and an old flame from an assassin intent on tracking them down and killing them. When all their attempts to escape unravel, Sam tries to send his former partner away, but will she go? And if she does, which one of them does it let off the hook?
We had an act about 3 years ago.
Oh. Well, you ought to put it back together.
Yeah, thanks.
Good evening, Ian. How are you?
I'm not too bad, Gerry. How are you?
Yeah, fine, thanks. Our act's been longer than 3 years.
I remember when it used to be good.
I'm sure a lot of people wish we'd split up after the 3 years.
I'm stuck with Columbo. The episode was a bit of a change of pace, but familiar in some ways.
I thought it had similarities to season 1's Double Identity and season 2's Her Charm.
Her Charm's the one that I picked up on, yeah. It's a slightly different relationship between the two leads, but same idea.
I've not really mentioned it, but I have detected a number of similar themes. A lot of episodes you can see are following...
Yeah, I've not even dug into whether it's the same writer or if it's just a coincidence, because obviously Deborah Pratt's writing all the racism episodes and then Paul Brown's writing all the ones where it's I don't know. But yeah, maybe. The title for this one, based on Billy Joel, I assume. I don't think it's biographical for him.
Well, I've not read his autobiography, so...
I want to find out.
Perhaps.
It would be really interesting if it was.
Did you enjoy the snooker? The final, was it last night? Was it finished?
Yeah, it finished up last night in our time, about a month ago for people listening to this.
Is it? Okay.
Or at least a couple of weeks.
Pleased to see Brazil win?
I was pleased to see Selby lose.
Yeah. You don't want to encourage that type of snooker.
No, and I think he's won enough.
Yeah.
Four's fine, Mark, just call it quits.
I should offer an apology. I'm not sure if it was this podcast or Fascinating, but I did have a go at the perennial underachiever Luca Brazil before saying he would amount to nothing. So
he's obviously carried that chip on his shoulder for many years.
I think it's fair to say, I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that I have probably been instrumental in motivating him to that lifting the trophy last night. I know he's a big fan of the show.
I'd say it's likely.
Mm-hmm. More likely than not, to be fair.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Should we talk about social media quickly and then get into the episode?
No, if we must.
It's just the usual stuff. We're on Facebook and at The Leap Home. We're on Instagram and Twitter at Leap Home Podcast. Show notes at theleaphome.com. And if you go to YouTube and find Columbo Podcast Productions, you will see that the episodes are available there 1 week before they come on the podcast feed. And you can subscribe there and hit the wee bell to be reminded on a Wednesday morning when it is released. We'd appreciate if you could do that for us. And also leave reviews, Apple Podcasts, IMDb, places like that. That would be a big help for us as well. Thank you.
Done?
I'm done. Are you ready?
Let's crack on.
After the intro, the tags slightly expanded from what we saw at the end of last week's episode, I think.
Yeah, what do we see?
So Sam arrives, or leaps in, at a piano, just finishing off a song, I believe, or just having finished a song, and has to turn off the backing beat on his electric keyboard.
Yeah, drum machine type thing.
Yeah. He's approached by a woman who asks him to play a song called Somewhere, and he doesn't really understand the question.
Okay, so we find out her name is Janelle, I think.
Would you later on, yes.
And this is a smoky bar. It's not particularly upmarket.
Bit of a dive.
And she is quite... Janelle is... She's trying to be quite sultry here, I think.
I think she's maybe had one or two drinks more than her capacity.
Now, not understanding, as you say, what somewhere means, he asks. And she says, well, you could play it at hers, but she doesn't have a piano, as she strokes his face.
Yes, and then says, come on, Chuck, could do it for me. And we see a couple of shots of an older man with a cigar.
I thought he was going to be relevant.
Yeah, he wasn't.
No.
Sam at this point realises what she meant by somewhere and gives an oh boy.
After the credits, we return to the bar, where we next see him confidently playing and singing his work. Now, this was quite impressive. Is it Scott Bakula singing himself, do we know?
Not only singing, he wrote the song.
Really?
Yeah, I've got that in my trivia later on, but I can tell people now.
Go for it.
He wrote the song.
Okay. Did he sing it?
And sang it.
Good trivia.
He wrote the theme tune. And he performed this. He also wrote it. And I think maybe some of the other music that he played earlier.
Not Footloose.
No. This song was actually released as a single. I don't think it charted.
It's all right for what it is. It's a decent lounge song.
I mean, it's not the most
Original.
inspirational lyric you'll ever come across.
No.
But yeah, no, it was fine.
Uh-huh. We see on the screen it is the 10th of November 1985.
Yes, and this woman, Janelle, is very, very close by as Sam plays the song.
We get an exterior shot for a second, which does show us, in fact, that it's a roadside diner, lots of trucks, so it's not in a metropolitan area.
No, we find out fairly shortly it's in New Mexico, I think.
So what's that, cowboy territory?
It's getting down that way.
Now, as Sam continues to play, we see, I think I've taken a note here, a middle-aged blonde. It might be a bit unfair, but I think...
A little bit harsh.
You think?
I don't think she's meant to be middle-aged.
No. She looks... I think it gets the styling, isn't it? She just looks a bit...
She's very 80s. I think she's meant to be in her maybe late 30s.
That's middle-aged, isn't it? I mean...
Not for Glasgow.
No, that would be old age.
She's got a blonde perm going on. She's wearing a red coat and she is very emotional. Very, very emotional.
Yeah, she's got tears running down her cheeks as she listens to him. Now, this is Lorraine. We find out. Yeah, okay.
Literally the words I've written here, this is Lorraine.
Okay. When he finishes, Janelle goes to get another drink and Lorraine approaches. And as Sam begins another tune, she notes that, oh, you put lyrics to it. That's the previous song, I think.
Yeah, he gets a bit snarky at this.
Does he?
He tells her that if you're going to sing a song, it's better if it has lyrics.
He does this through the microphone as well.
Yeah, he does. He obviously hasn't quite caught on to what's happening here.
What is happening here?
There's a relationship, an existing relationship between these people.
But I think he realises when she mentions that she wasn't the lyricist.
She says she was.
Oh, she was the lyricist, okay, in the act, before stating that a lot changes after 3 years and it was a mistake, her coming back as she turns to leave, clearly upset.
Yeah, so Sam now obviously has to figure out what's going on, who she is, where he is, but no doubt you'll just say something anyway.
Well, he decides to take 5 and goes after her, but she turns around and she bumps into him. And there's a bit of slapstick as I think it's fair to say, the bitchy Janelle returns and Sam guides Lorraine to the bar where they can speak in private.
Yeah, she smashes his tip jar.
Does she?
Yeah, he has to pick all the money off the ground without getting his fingers slashed.
And after the barman takes Chuck's order of 2 coffees, the klutzy Lorraine spills these drinks before she calms down and we find out why she is there.
Why didn't you say goodbye? Why did you just walk out of my life?
You slimy lounge lizard. You've only been working on the Z circuit for 5 minutes and you've already got a woman in tears.
Isn't it?
My name is Chuck Danner, lounge lizard extraordinaire.
I think 3 years ago you didn't want to marry me.
And that's why I ran away. I had the foggiest.
What else could I think?
Well, no birth certificate, no social security, no draft.
Why else
card,
would you
no
disappear?
autograph, not even a mailing list,
Why
nothing,
else would you
honest.
change your name?
Well, that's it. You changed your name. We got to get your real name, Sam.
I need some answers so I can get on with my life. Because I've met someone else.
Took her 3 years. Someone else.
His name is Carl Morgan, and he's very successful, and he doesn't live on the road. And most important, he loves me very much.
I wonder why she's sitting on a bar stool next to you.
Good point.
If you love him, why are you here?
Carl wanted to be sure there weren't any ghosts.
That's Carl's first mistake.
He said that we couldn't start on our new life until we were both sure that it was over. So is it?
Well,
I think that
It's your
answers
real
it.
name.
I just wanted to know why you didn't even say goodbye.
Look, we should talk about that. But I've got another set to do. So if you could just wait here, then when I'm done, we'll talk, okay?
Okay, but I promised Carl that I would call him and let him know that I'm all right.
All right.
Do we need to define the term lounge lizard, or will folk understand?
I'm sure folk will understand.
Okay, carry on then.
When Lorraine leaves, Al agrees Sam may be there to bring Chuck and her back together, or to break them up so that she and Carol can live happily ever after.
I'm surprised Sam hasn't read in her eyes what the true state of the relationship is.
Yes,
Like he does every other week. She's come back after 3 years of abandoning her kid and whatever else. Definitely wants to get back together. This one, not so sure.
Al tells him that he is in fact in 1985 and an entertainer in New Mexico, but that they still don't know who he really is.
Yes, because the guy in the waiting room in the future insists on his new identity.
Yeah, Chuck. We've discussed this briefly before, but this is now confirmation that they are able to talk to the person in the waiting room. And I've said that I think that they can make more use of this.
They will do.
Will they?
Apparently.
Ah, right.
We see Lorraine on the phone to Carl.
Yeah, he's at an aeroplane hangar. He's wearing overalls. I thought at first he was an engineer at work, but no.
Yeah, I thought that as well. But he's racing planes.
Yeah.
It's a bit like the movie, Disney's Planes movie with Dusty Crophopper and all that lot.
Reminded me more of Fletch.
Everything reminds you of Fletch.
It's all ball bearings these days.
Okay.
Anyway.
The fact that we see Carl suggests that he's got a role to play in this episode.
Yeah, we've seen him a few times and it's not hard to work out what his role is, I don't think. Anyway, he is not happy that she's waiting on Sam to finish his set and that he is being nice. And even though it was his idea for Lorraine to meet with him, he thinks it's now a mistake and wants her to come home. It was a terrible idea. Who does that? Who would have such an idea?
Oh, someone who wants to find him.
Can only be. There's no other reason.
Yeah. Well, why don't you go and find your ex? Just make sure you're not in love with your
double check.
ex.
Yeah, have a quickie just to make sure I'm better.
Yes.
I mean, what can possibly go wrong here?
It's a flawless plan.
A couple of dough balls. Anyway.
She tells him to trust her and to fly good tomorrow.
I'm surprised that Sam and Al haven't picked up in this story of her. That doesn't make sense.
It's not the only thing they don't pick up on in this episode, I think. They're selectively stupid for some reason. Not for some reason, for reasons of plot.
Anyway, as Lorraine hangs up, she tells him that she loves him before adding, I think, after the receiver has been placed down.
She's obviously having her emotions toyed with.
Back at the bar.
Yes, Lorraine has taken Janelle's place at the end of Sam's stool and is watching him play.
Yeah, she's looking quite longingly at him, I think.
Al shows up and he gets to use a line that he's been waiting for many years.
Yes, he says, play it again, Sam.
And says that he's always wanted to say that. Lorraine then starts imagining the life they might have had over the past 3 years if he hadn't left.
Yeah, I think she says that if he had stayed around, he would have got a recording contract and they would have married. And at this point, Sam has an opportunity and encourages her to say what her surname would have been had they got married.
Which she does. She says she would have been Mrs. DiNardo.
Which would have been better than Danner, and asks him why he changed it.
He doesn't get into that right now. And she tells him it was very hard to find him, but she knew that he wouldn't give up his music and wondered where he would go that would be somewhere completely different from what would be expected.
Yes, she tries to imagine the last place that he would go because he's trying to hide.
From her?
See, I don't really understand.
If she thinks he's just left her, why would he be hiding?
Exactly. None of this makes sense. Before we get to why he's running away, she'd be told. Like, if you love someone and you think you have to flee for a reason and you don't want to take them for whatever reason, perhaps you think it'll put them at risk, you would tell them anyway.
Unless you thought her knowing puts her at risk because she can't keep her mouth shut.
Someone after you, but you don't have to tell her anything other than, I'm leaving because
I witnessed a crime. Yes.
You don't have to give her any information. The people after him and therefore potentially after her would assume anyway that she knows.
Yeah, they might do, yeah. Also, how she found him in this one particular lounge, there must be millions.
I suppose you could ask, you follow from sort of roadside diner to diner saying,
is there a guy who's singing the song?
Well, you can describe him, can't you? Do you know maybe his style? Well, not sure.
Maybe. It just seems, unless they're not that far from where they originally were, it seems unlikely that she would have found him.
Now here's the thing, I don't even agree with her logic. They used to play these diners.
No, I don't think so.
Yes, because they talked earlier on about being on the road and how they didn't like it.
Yeah. Yes, he doesn't like them. They did play them, but he didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's not the opposite. Then
Still doing it.
Still doing it. You're just doing something you used to do that you didn't like, something that you know, something you can make money off.
Yeah.
Even if you still had to perform as a piano player because that's all you can do.
Yeah.
The opposite of that would be going to another city or somewhere else in the country and getting a job as a session musician or
a jazz bar or something.
A residency, in a place. So this doesn't make sense anyhow.
At this point, the barman, whose name I don't think we ever learn, asks to borrow Sam's car to take Janelle home. With Al giving Janelle some lustful looks as she leaves.
Yeah, well, Janelle's a hot bit of stuff. Yeah, when they say, take her home, it's, only for a few hours, I think he says.
Yes. Now that she's so drunk that she can't actually express anything herself.
Yeah, she blows a kiss to Sam as the pair of them leave, and Lorraine remarks that Joey never used to let anyone drive his car, which now gives them...
his full name, yes.
Yes.
Sam notes at this point that it's a long time since anyone called him that.
So Al, with this new information, reveals that he was born in Chicago in 1950 and died
today, here,
when his car was bombed in New Mexico. And just then, we hear a massive explosion from outside. And we see Sam doing his silly side-to-side run again.
He's getting an injured ankle.
Don't care. He always runs like that. It's stupid.
It's dramatic.
Terrible. It's just really inefficient running. I'm not even a runner, but I know that. Side to side. With his head. It does that with his head, sort of flops side to side as well. Some people do that. It's just aesthetically horrible.
Okay. You should point out to them when you see them.
And especially when you get like bigger, like more hair like Sam has back then.
Yeah.
There's more of it to flop.
Sam and Lorraine run out and Al points out this could have been you.
He points out the bleeding obvious to quote Basil Fawlty.
Right then, a man with a gun approaches and shoots Sam in the leg.
It's a little bit Michael Myers.
Very much so. He tells Lorraine to go and she says she won't leave him. So he tells her, get the car.
Yeah. And they flee.
Well, inexplicably quickly she pulls up next to him as if the car was just off screen.
Well, maybe it was. In any case, they flee, followed by a spray of bullets, and then the hitman in his own truck.
Sort of camper.
Yeah.
Truck, yeah. In the car, Sam tells Lorraine that the bullet passed through his lateral quadricep, which confuses her a little bit.
Yeah, why can't he just say leg?
Yeah, how does it help to say that?
Even a real doctor in real life wouldn't say that, would they?
I wouldn't have thought so.
That's a dictionary term.
Unless they're trying to explain why he's going to be limping for the rest of the episode. He asks for her scarf and checks that she's okay, but she's fine, just a bit upset.
Al has joined them in the back and states that Sam has changed history as he was meant to have been killed just a moment ago. He also mentions that they were a hot lounge act in Chicago until he vanished 3 years ago.
Chicago's nowhere near New Mexico.
No.
So how has she found him?
Well, yeah.
Well, why did she even try New Mexico? She kind of, in 3 years, she's not been through every state between Illinois.
Even then, if you check a state once...
Yeah, I checked one bar in Michigan, then I moved on.
It's 3 years. So even if you check it, it doesn't mean to say he can never go back there. No. It can always just be in different states from where you go.
Yeah.
She's an idiot.
They need to have something in the script about how she found him.
Yes.
Like someone a mutual acquaintance tipped her off or something like that.
Uh-huh. That'd be easy. I mean, maybe
I spoke to Jack. He said you were playing here.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? If
you said you were using this name or something.
Well, if you're on the circuit, I'm sure there's lots of musicians also on the circuit, like, comedy performers, and you cross paths. Yeah.
Wouldn't have been hard to put a line in.
Nope.
Anyway, obviously wasn't felt to be important.
Didn't think that in 30 years would
The important thing is
two podcasters picking at every
little piece of
Well, that'll teach them.
Yeah. Lorraine seems to think that this incident is all her fault.
I'd agree.
Sam, at this point, is trying to talk to Al without giving away that he's talking to Al and asks, is that right? And Al says, no, but Lorraine's convinced that she is a jinx.
She is a jinx.
At this point, Al gives Sam the background to his own situation.
What's that?
So he went to school with a couple of guys who went to the mob, and he was used to lure one of them to be murdered, which he witnessed, and he ran, essentially. And he says this, repeats it out loud, which allows Lorraine to realise what's happened as well.
They must know that he was used.
Well, I presume the idea is that he was to get killed as well. It's not the one who got killed that's upset, it's the one who did the killing.
Yeah.
So there was a falling out between Nicky and Ponty, and Nicky's used Sam to lure Ponty to the place where he was murdered. And presumably Sam was meant to die at that point as well, but
Why would Sam die?
because he's seen the murder. And it's just for whatever reason he's got away. But again, they don't really go into enough detail for you to work out what's happened.
He's actually a very inefficient... if you're a hitman, luring someone and then having to kill two people, you can lure someone more effectively than that.
Yeah.
Now you've got all these other loose strands. You want to keep things... I mean, I've never killed anyone before in a hit.
If you think back to the episode with the priest, remember the guy had to go around killing about 6 folk to make up for the...
Yes. I mean, I'd imagine that for every killing, there's just so many things that you have to take care of.
Eventually you've killed 40 people.
Just to kill that. Right. I think that's it, done and
I'll
dusted.
get away with the first one. Right. Now what about the second one?
I have to wipe out that entire family tree. I think I've covered my tracks.
Lorraine is so pleased that he wasn't running away from her.
But okay, but wait a second. Who actually done the killing in the first place?
I think Nicky killed Ponty.
But this person who's now after Sam, is that a hired gun?
Yeah, it's an assassin.
So now he needs to kill the assassin?
No, he's a pro. That's fine. He won't kill anybody.
No, but pros will, because when pros get caught for something else,
he'll never get caught. He's too much of a pro.
They'll speak as well. So now you get yourself in trouble. You're having to kill a hitman.
He's probably used a local hitman that doesn't know him.
And when you start going after the hitman will know this, but he's a professional, so he'll come after you.
He's contacted the New Orleans the New Mexico Guild of Assassins.
making a mess of this, like using someone else to lure someone so he can kill him. Nah, no, I'm not buying this. Where were we?
So Lorraine is so pleased that he wasn't running away from her that she stops looking at the road and leans over to give him a hug, just as an articulated lorry comes into view. They managed to avoid getting crushed to death, but very bad news is on the way from Al.
Yes, he points out that the killer is behind him, and according to Ziggy, they will both be killed in 1 mile. Now, how does he know this? How can Ziggy... Because the original timeline's been changed.
That he was killed next to the mile marker.
No, but I mean, this information, this new death is only... It can only be calculated in the last minute or two, because it's only a minute or two.
Yeah, but all the historical records immediately update, won't they, to reflect the new history? Same as in her charm. Every time he avoided getting her killed, it's like, oh no, now she dies in 25 minutes.
Yeah, okay, fine.
So Sam just thinks, oh, that's fine, we'll just, not be there. But unfortunately, they break down just as they get to the mile marker. Yeah,
they run out of gas and slow to a stop, and we see that the hitman check his gun, and he's obviously not too far away. However, he drives right past him. Why? How? Because somehow they've managed in that 90 seconds that they had of a lead to get the car down behind a bush. A little bit Back to the Future. Yeah. So that leaves them wondering how they're going to get some gas. I think it's the next morning now. So I'm not sure how long that is, but well, it's dark now, it's light. So. Okay. Might have crossed the time zone. Sam talks to the local sheriff on the phone at this diner that he's made his way to. And in the background, we see Lorraine spill more coffee on more people. And why would the sheriff? You've run out of fuel. You don't phone the sheriff. He's phoning the sheriff about the hitman. Is he? Yes. Someone blew up my car and tried to kill me. And yeah, but I'm thinking if this is there's a hitman after you. Yeah. Attracting attention to yourself by going to the cops isn't what you want to do. Yeah, I mean, they could be in it. Because here's the thing: if you're going to go to the cops, you go to the cops rather than run. You say, "I think my life's in danger." Well, that's what he's doing. No, he waited until his life they shot at him, but rather than run, you could go to the cops. Well, in the first place. Yeah. Yeah, but this is Sam's first opportunity to go to the cops. Right, okay. He didn't know he was getting shot at until it was happening. Anyhow, there's some sort of discussion about whether they're at Polly's or Thelma's. Who cares? It doesn't really matter. I thought it was going to be important. No. It was going to expose the policeman as part of the criminal act, but nope. It just belongs to Thelma. So the cop agrees to come and help them, I think, in about 20 minutes' time. I'll get there eventually. It's not too important. Man. It's donut time, so if you just wait. So Sam goes back and produces his wallet to pay for breakfast, and at this point Lorraine is surprised and pleased. Yes, he's got her photo in the wallet, which is probably a surprise to Sam as well at this stage. A moody one. Embarrassing. She spies a piano at the other end of the diner and wanders over. This is a bit cringe. Yeah, she starts tinkling as Sam sits down
With blood all over himself.
and agrees to teach her the new song by performing it in front of an astonished selection of cowboy diners.
Yeah, who seem to enjoy it.
They all gather round and they're having as much fun as Lorraine, who then starts singing along with Sam.
Yeah. They get to the end and she's about to give him a kiss when the woman who runs the diner comes over with a request for a new song.
Yeah, she asks them to cut loose, and so they start up a rendition of Footloose. Coincidentally, we mentioned that last week.
Yes, we did not know this was going to happen.
Nope. Which gets the patrons dancing and moving along to the music. It was all very cringe, I thought.
It's a lot of cheese.
Yeah. When they finish,
we had the bit from the top of the show, yes, about the act, and Lorraine goes out and Sam is told by the woman to put the act back together.
Sam then follows Lorraine outside with the intention of trying to reassure her.
Lorraine. Come on. Listen, everything's gonna be okay. I called the sheriff. He's gonna pick up Nikki. Nikki Bellini, the guy who's trying to kill me.
Won't make any difference.
Of course it will.
No, I'm a jinx.
No, you're not.
Remember all the terrible things that happened to you when we started dating?
No, not really.
How could you forget the ornament I bought you for your tree?
The ornament?
The arson investigator said it started the whole thing. And the time we went to California?
That was a great trip.
Except your luggage went to Iran.
Well, you know, there's a good side of that. I mean, I could have gone with it.
And how about our ski trip? You broke both legs.
Well, it's my fault. I mean, I shouldn't have fallen.
You would have fallen if I hadn't skied into you.
Come on now, you didn't do it on purpose.
I'm a jinx and I'm gonna get you killed.
No, Lorraine,
I
come on.
have to call Carl.
Those things weren't that bad.
Really?
They had an accident in the ski slope. His luggage going awry is not her problem.
No, it's not.
And
Although she might be saying if she's there, whenever she's with him, things go wrong.
And the ornament that set the place on fire, that's a manufacturing fault. That's not anything to do with...
Yeah, again, individually, on their own, all these things, but when she's always there.
Anyhow, we now see her speaking to Carl again. He's at this plane race. We see a few outdoor shots of the planes going round.
Obviously, stock footage. And she assures him that she wasn't hurt and got away. But he wants her to come home with, the mobster, hitman and all that sort of stuff.
He's saying what you would consider the right things, I suppose, to her.
Yeah, he should never have asked her to do this in the first place.
Given the situation they're in now, he's quite rightly, as you might imagine, wanting her to be away from this stuff.
Yeah, but he's also very specific about things like their location. Where are you? Where are you right now?
What are your coordinates?
Yes, do you have an address? So she tells them where they are, and she wants to wait on the sheriff, but Carol states that if Joey really cared for her, he would get as far away as possible, and I agree with that.
Yeah. She says that she's a jinx, and he says she's never been a jinx to him, which he has to agree with.
Mm-hmm. He again asks her to come home and reminds her that she is not his mother when she says that she wants to make sure he's safe and well. But she does promise to leave when the sheriff arrives and tells Carol this time that she does love him.
I've noted here that I don't trust Carl.
Yes, right from the outset. It's like,
and also the fact that the story only works if he's a villain.
Yeah.
Because if he's genuinely in love with her, none of the rest of it makes sense.
Back in the diner, Al arrives.
Yes, he tells Sam that they need to get out because they're both going to be dead before the sheriff arrives.
In 8 minutes if they don't move, and we fade back in with Al emphasising their peril to Sam while Lorraine sits in a booth.
Yeah, and Sam is now worried that Nikki has got a police radio, so he rules out any police involvement from this point forward. And Al gives some advice from his old fencing lessons.
What's that?
Distance is the best defence.
And so an agitated Sam rushes to Lorraine and tells her that they must leave immediately and are going to a place where Nikki can't find them. I'm not sure how he has worked that out.
It's fortunate that she's quite credulous. and just goes along with whatever he says.
Yeah, she is a bit... Again, the type that Sam would go for. She's not too
vulnerable.
challenging, vulnerable.
Sam's now driving the car, and Lorraine starts talking about death.
Yeah, he tries to assure her that they're not going to die, but she doesn't seem convinced.
Yeah, well, she says that he wouldn't have hauled her out of the diner if he wasn't at least a little bit worried.
That's true, yeah, and there also is a hitman after him. So
That's true.
I mean, there is a chance. He's a professional after all.
She then moves on from that subject to talk about her dream of living in Hawaii and buying a little place down by the beach.
They indulge in their fantasy existence and hold hands in agreement until they are brought back to reality by a blown tyre.
Yeah, unfortunately the spare is also flat, so they can't change it.
No, and they're forced to slowly drive to the nearest garage on its rims.
This was a poor choice. Why did you not leave the flat tyre on?
Exactly. Unless we're led to believe it's quite a distance and the tyre just disintegrated.
Yeah, but then put the spare one on at that point.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure how... I don't think a tyre would disintegrate if it's flat.
You certainly should put the flat spare on over the blown main tyre. You take off the one that's exploded.
Yes.
And put on the one that's got no air in it.
Yeah.
And then go slowly. I mean, you should just call the AA, but obviously they're not able to do that.
At the garage, Lorraine rushes straight inside as Sam is taken advantage of by the owner, who realises that he is desperate.
Yeah, he's got all the leverage, doesn't he? He's quite entrepreneurial, and he wants $80 to get the car back up and running.
Inside, Big Mouth Lorraine is again on the phone to Carol and giving him precise details of what happened and what they're up to now.
Yes, and he tells her that there's a small airport nearby and that he'll meet her there and miss his race.
Yeah.
She's not happy with this. She wants him to compete.
But no, he insists. Outside, Al has returned with bad news.
Yes, he tells Sam that he cannot hide in the mountains and the only way to get out of this situation is to get rid of Miss Lucky Charm. Yeah,
well, at first Sam thinks that, well, I can't run forever. But Al says you've only got a 3% chance of winning. I'll take those odds.
You're saying there's a chance? Lorraine comes back out and tells Sam about the airport idea, which Sam likes.
And so, in order to do this, Sam has to take Al's advice to pick a fight.
Don't squirm on me, Sam. You gotta do it to save her life.
Lorraine.
Be tough. Tough.
This isn't working out.
Oh, that's tough.
What are you saying?
She doesn't mean a thing to you, Sam. It was just a fling.
I need some time to think things over.
I understand that. I just stroll into your life after 3 years. You need a little time to figure things out.
Well, yeah.
But that doesn't mean we have to be apart.
Ditch her, Sam.
She's ready to go. Okay, thanks.
Keep in mind
We'll be over in just a second.
3 boyfriends all died under bizarre circumstances.
What?
Yes.
What?
Ask about Judd.
What happened to Judd?
Well, you can lose perspective looking through a camera. And he didn't really notice that he'd actually stepped into the alligator pit.
Alligator pit?
How about Michael?
And Michael?
Oh, no, that wasn't my fault. Not really. I didn't tell him to go to the Dodgers game. Who knew he was going to try and catch a foul ball from the second deck?
Now, let's not forget...
Well, let's not forget...
Just stop it. If you don't want to be with me, just say it.
Oh, say it, say it.
Lorraine, I don't want to be with you anymore.
You said it. I can't believe you actually said it. Well, that's just fine. That's...
Lorraine.
Now I can get on with my life without you. That's fine. That's good. That's great.
My note on Sam's approach here is that it's patronising and demeaning and takes away Lorraine's agency.
Fair enough, but you have to do what you have to do. A man's got to do what
a man has to take control. A woman can't be expected to make a sound decision in these circumstances.
And so she drives off, angry and upset.
It's like something out of a cartoon at this point, when the killer just drives past her.
It's like, oh,
no, of all the things that we didn't expect to happen.
Yeah.
So, Al notes she still dies, so Sam steals the truck of the entrepreneurial garage guy.
Complete with a shotgun.
Yeah, and heads off in pursuit.
Now, I noted here as well, this is why they had to show the garage owner being a bit of a dick. Because now it's like, yeah, take his car. Because if he was a really nice guy, you'd feel bad.
Feel bad, yeah.
For some reason, it all gets really misty.
Yeah, heading
Very
up to the
quickly.
mountains. That's fairly normal. I think cloud cover comes down. You're above.
That was really
above the
bad.
cloud level.
Much. No, I didn't go that high. It was in seconds. It's
You saw the mountains they were driving to.
yeah. I don't know.
Lorraine's almost killed by a truck again as she's driving around dozily, and then gives herself a bit of a shake.
Yeah, we see the hitman notice Sam is on his tail, and for some reason, incredibly, he's driving a piece of junk. He manages to overtake. I mean, surely any professional hitman would have good equipment. You want to be like in and out of
Yeah,
places.
but he's got no reason to rush. He's like the relentless Terminator guy. He's just going at his 50 kilometres an hour, and he's going to get there eventually.
No, but he's already seen that Sam's behind him, and he allows him to
But he
get
doesn't
in
know it's
front.
Sam.
I think he does. He looks now.
No, he doesn't. He just thinks he's an idiot in a truck.
You think?
Pretty sure.
Hmm.
Yeah, so Sam swerves in front of him and blocks him, and the two of them pull their guns out to shoot one another.
But this is a
Straight out of Warner Brothers.
didn't see this coming. To
This
be fair,
is Wile E. Coyote stuff.
what happens?
He is smashed by a truck.
A head-on collision.
Pretty brutal, isn't it?
Up in a
It's not
fireball.
the only brutal moment at the end of this episode.
No. I enjoyed it. I thought-
Almost comic violence.
yes, cartoonish.
Yeah.
Al announces the obvious that Nicky is dead. But again, he has to point out the truck driver was fine, because it wouldn't be good for an innocent truck driver to die to help Sam.
Unfortunately, also Lorraine's still going to die, which confuses them.
Although I would say that he says, yeah, the truck driver's fine. Apart from the psychological trauma,
Yeah.
doing that to someone,
I probably just that every week, though, in those conditions.
and truck drivers, as we know, a lot of them are serial killers.
As long as he's blowing his horn, his conscience is clear. We see Lorraine at the airport telling literally everything to a very inquisitive Carl.
Yeah, she tells him what happened, including why Joey left Chicago, and about Nicky as well.
Yeah, she thinks that the killer was Nicky, I think.
Yeah, she doesn't know if he got away because they split up.
Yeah, who knows?
Back in the car.
This bit I had an issue with.
Go for it.
So Al and Sam are heading for the airport, presumably, and Gushy's having trouble giving them directions, and they can't centre on Lorraine because she's too ditzy.
Well, yeah, the problems with the synapses or something, they can't
And
centre
then,
on her.
According to the future autopsy report, they've got 7 minutes. Autopsies aren't that specific.
No, not at all. That's not the only problem I've got with this.
And then Sam uses his gut to overrule Al's guidance at the junction.
Yes.
Now, this is the last time we see them before they get to the airport.
Yep.
They should be using this time to figure out who the killer is. Because they have it figured out by the time they get there, but we never see them do it.
Nope.
So instead of arguing about directions, have them figure out who Carl is
Yeah,
in this scene.
that would make more sense.
Anyway.
Back at the airport, Carol is now desperate sounding and is confusing Lorraine by continuing to ask about Joey before things are made clear.
Where did you leave Joey, Lorraine?
At the gas station.
Did he say where he was going?
No.
Where could he have gone?
I don't know and I don't care. I'm with you now.
Damn it, Lorraine! Think! Where could he have gone?
Carl, why are you acting like this? I don't understand.
I do.
Joey, what are you doing?
Saving your life.
Something I should have done 3 years ago.
What?
Joey. How you doing?
You know each other?
You could say that.
Nicky and I go way back.
Nicky.
Nicky Bellini.
He's been using you, Lorraine. Using you to find me.
No. You're wrong. We're engaged to be married. Tell him, Carl. Oh, God.
Sam, he's got a gun.
Put your hands on your head. Come on.
You were using me? You were using me to find him?
Hey, you used me to find Joey too, Lorraine, or at least my money. I'm just sorry it took so long.
And everything you said, you didn't mean any of it.
It looks like you didn't either.
You would have let me just die in that explosion.
Face it, Lorraine. Nobody wants a jinx.
You bastard.
No!
Go ahead! Now break it!
I should have shot him.
You won't let her go.
Put the rifle down first.
He's gonna break her neck.
Okay. Okay, just don't hurt her, all right?
Now my gun.
Every reference there to Lorraine I could only hear in the voice of Biff.
Yes.
Damn it, Lorraine.
At this point, Carl throws Lorraine aside and grabs his gun, and Sam dives out of the way, and Lorraine drops a plain engine on him, squishing him.
It's horrific.
It was absolutely brutal. You can see the blood everywhere.
Yeah, I've got here, like in a cartoon, she releases an aeroplane engine which crushes him to death. So, the aftermath.
Yes, Al tells Sam that Joey and Lorraine get married and move to Hawaii.
As we see an extremely thin body being wheeled off, and Lorraine speaking with the sheriff. I think Al actually says that she should get the credit for this leap being completed.
Oh yeah, she's the one that pulled it off.
Yeah.
I think Sam makes a comment here that you enjoyed, or Lorraine does.
What's that?
About still being alive.
Yeah, so Sam asks Al about Joey. And Al tells him, yeah, he's still playing. They're a double act now. They're still playing. And he says, oh, he's still alive. Lorraine overhears this and says, no, he's dead. She thinks he's talking about Carol or Nicky. So, yeah, Lorraine, we know that. You killed him.
With the engine.
Yeah. No, he's definitely dead.
But
it looks a fleshman.
It looks like Sam and Lorraine are going to rekindle this relationship as she leans in, but unfortunately puts all her weight on his bullet wound.
She has a complete shambles. We know someone like that, don't we?
We do. We shouldn't name him. No. But he'll know who he is if he ever listens. They do kiss after that, and Sam leaps into a man with a large birthday cake.
Yes, beside a busty old woman inviting him to blow.
Yes, and when he does, a harem of young women jump out to wish him a happy birthday.
Before the older one grabs his genitals as part of his present, and we get an oh boy.
Was it oh joy or oh boy?
Well,
that's the end. So do you think Lorraine really is jinxed?
Yes.
Okay.
Like, you can't have that many. There's just some people, I'm sure there's been studies into this, that if you think you're unlucky, you put yourself in situations where bad things happen.
Yeah, maybe psychologically.
Yeah. It's maybe a lack of confidence.
Maybe. Or composure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get nervous about it because you think you're about to make a mistake.
The more you think about it,
yeah.
Did you like Sam's song?
Yeah, I said before it was perfectly acceptable. I mean, I wouldn't buy it, but...
I'm glad they didn't... Oh, wait, they did play it over the closing credits. The one thing that kind of bothered me about the episode is, in the original history, Joey died in his car. So because of what Sam did, Janelle and the barman died in the car. Mm-hmm. He caused that to happen. Doesn't really seem that fussed.
Precisely. So that's a whole other part of it. I mean,
he's killed these two people. They weren't dead before.
Yes, yeah. And we don't know in terms of the sort of the ramifications, the butterfly effect, etc. I mean, maybe the barman was studying and he was going to be the person who found a cure to cancer.
Or maybe Janelle was.
Or Janelle, yeah. Well, Janelle was a bit older. She probably at that stage wasn't.
It's too late for her.
Too late for her, yeah.
She's had her chance.
I mean, he could
still. Sam has done this and there's no repercussions, there's no mention of it past the fact that they were a bit upset at the time.
Exactly. So two families there have been devastated.
Yeah.
But it's alright because
Sam and Joey and Lorraine get back together.
Yeah. So they've only actually swapped
it's a swap out. Yeah. They've traded lives.
Mm-hmm. But it shows you it's that sort of conservative mindset. Those two were into free sex and drinking in bars and picking up and, just having that type of lifestyle. They deserve it.
The other two wanted to get married.
Yes.
Rekindle
probably have
wholesome relationship.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, trivia.
Sure.
Originally aired 27th of March 1991, directed by James Whitmore Jr., the sixth of his 15. If you want to hear more about him, go back to the podcast for Jimmy in season 2. The writer was a one-time thing, Ed Scharlach. He's interesting. One of the main writers and a story supervisor on Mork and Mindy.
Okay.
He's written for shows like Mike Hammer, Happy Days, and a lot of Scooby-Doo.
3 shows that I've watched an awful lot of over the years.
Yeah. He's now 80. He's an instructor at UCLA on screenwriting courses. Lorraine was played by Marietta de Prima, her only Quantum Leap episode, and she's appeared in films and series including Lady Bird, Matlock, Diagnosis Murder. She's now 59, and her last screen credit was in 2017.
She is married to the chap from Father of the Bride 1 and 2.
Okay.
The Steve Martin movies, the son-in-law.
Okay.
And I think he is in a few of the sort of superhero movies these days or TV shows.
Okay.
Can't remember his name.
Not important enough for this podcast. Carl/Nicky was played by Angelo Tiffy, or Tiff. He's also appeared in... So this is his only quantum leap, but he's also appeared in Star Trek 6, which we covered on Fascinating. Police Academy 6, mostly things with sixes. The Young and the Restless, and Days of Our Lives. He was a recurring character in both of those, and both times his character was called Angelo, the same as him.
Spooky.
Or Lazy. He's now 64, still active. Janelle, the tragic Janelle, was played by Denise Gentile, or Gentili. Her only quantum leap, she also appeared in Dallas, Murder, She Wrote, ER, Babylon 5, and her last screen credit was in 2010. Frank, who I think must be the barman, because there's no other Frank in the episode as I can recall, played by John Oldach. Only quantum leap, he's also been in Mike Hammer and Roadhouse.
Was he? Ah, right, yeah.
Hector, who's the guy that fixed the truck and got his own truck stolen, was played by Frank Roman. His only quantum leap, also been in things like Falcon Crest, Under Siege 2, ER, and The X-Files. Finally, the killer / assassin, or whatever you want to call him, was played by George Marshall Rouge, or Roog. He's interesting. Actor and stuntman, and a stunt coordinator. This is his only quantum leap, but he has performed and coordinated stunts for major films, including all the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, the Lord of the Rings trilogy with Peter Jackson, Police Academy. He's appeared in shows including The Twilight Zone, Murder, She Wrote, and one episode of Columbo.
Ah, which one?
I'll give you £1 if you can guess his character name.
No idea.
Angelo. In Strange Bedfellows.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Did he do the stunt? Because there was two, obviously, major stunts in this episode. The first car bomb, and then the truck.
Yeah, I guess.
Bigger stunts we normally see in Quantum Leap. More dangerous.
There was no people in the car when it was bombed.
No, but it's still a fire. You don't. It's still a dangerous stunt to perform.
If he's a stunt coordinator, he might well have set it up. Yeah. Yeah, he's now 71. He's still working. Although I think more coordinating than doing stunts.
Sure.
I've already said Scott Bakula composed and performed Somewhere in the Night. The car chase footage, this is interesting, because it was taken from Donald Belisario's 1988 film Last Rites, which means they had to find very similar cars to use in the camper, the van that the killer was driving, and the beat-up truck that Sam stole had to match the ones that were in the stock footage. Or
be similar enough. They might not actually be the same, but you wouldn't notice.
Yeah, close enough, yeah. This is the most modern or latest chronological leap so far, and there's only going to be one beyond this.
Is there?
It's also the one that is closest to the date of release, because by the time we get to the later one,
yeah, sure. Think about this. Yeah, this is something I'm not sure if I've asked you before, but this is 1985.
Yep.
So what? 5 years before this is where this is set.
Well, it's set in Quantum Leap set in 94, but aired in 91 ish. So it's
is it? No. When is it set? It's not set.
It's set in the near future, and we're watching it in 91, so it's slightly after 91.
Okay, so Sam would still be an adult. Sam could technically go and see himself.
Yeah. Or you're probably working in Quantum Leap.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. You can go say, it's worked, hi!
You would be intrigued, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Yeah, you must think at some point when you're working on it, this must not have worked, otherwise I'd have come and seen myself.
And we know that, because was Quantum Leap project not in New Mexico? The very first episode, Sam was in the, I was in the desert.
Yeah. It
wasn't you? So he's right beside it.
Should have made the effort.
At least he could have asked. That's another line they could have put in. Sam saying, can we go? And Al says, no, it's too dangerous, etc.
See yourself, you turn into a mutant or something, yeah. This is the other episode, referred to this previously, where Scott Bakula's ankle injury from Runaway is written into the story, obviously. I thought it was when he got his ankle kicked at the very start, but it's actually when he got shot in the leg.
Yeah.
In terms of things that we learned, Al took fencing training at some point. Anything else?
Yep. Some people have dodgy synapses which prevent Ziggy from being able to centre in. And Sam, I think we might have seen this before, but Sam's a decent performer. I mean, in the...
we have seen these. He's been a Carnegie Hall pianist before, remember?
Yeah, but not a singer.
No,
but we did.
But he sang in the Mafia wedding one.
The Valari, yeah.
In respect of on this date, nothing happened.
Not much.
The day before, I've got one for the day before.
Go for the day before then.
Gary Kasparov became the youngest ever world chess champion.
Okay, that's interesting. The number one in the US was We Built This City by Starship, and in the UK it was A Good Heart by Fergal Sharkey. I've got one thing. The NHL Philadelphia Flyers goaltender, Pelle Lindbergh, crashed his Porsche and died while drink driving.
Yes, I saw that. I just hadn't heard of him.
No, neither have I. I'm sure some people have. If you're into the old hockey back in the day.
Back in the day. Next week, we have Southern Comforts, where Sam once again has to save a girl from a life of prostitution.
He loves that.
We'll see you in 1961.
Until then,
cheerio.
Bye bye.